Welcome to Shining the Light. My name is S.E. Walibwa, and my guest today is one and the only, Her Excellency Dorcus Makgato.
Hey yeah, hey y'all, how you doing?
She worked for Debswana.
Then went to Air Botswana, where she ended up as a commercial manager.
Worked at Barloworld, was the executive director of Nashua franchise. In 2007, she became a CEO of BEDIA before joining the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Also served as the Minister of Health and Wellness, as the Minister of Nationality, Immigration and Gender Affairs, and as the Minister of Transport and Communication. She was the leader of BDP's Women's Wing as well as a member of Parliament. She served in various private and government boards, and now she is Botswana's High Commissioner to the Commonwealth of Australia.
New Zealand, Indonesia,
How are you?
Solomon Islands. I'm all over. Yeah.
You are all over. You are all over. So how are you? How have you been dealing with this pandemic?
I'm good. The pandemic has been wearing me down. Wearing me down because when I left home and decided that I'm taking the appointment gracefully and I'm going to work for Botswana in Australia, I had an agenda. I was so fired up and all that. And unfortunately, I got here on the 20th of February, if I recall, 20th, 21st, thereabout. And then we went into lockdown 3 weeks later. And effectively, Australia has been in lockdown since then to date. And I say that because you can't come into Australia since then. Only certain categories of people and very few, some through exemptions, as you know. And it's the way Australia is structured. You've got different states, so there's no interstate travel. Our job is about engagement. It's about selling or marketing the country, organizing groups of people to be able to state your case. And people are Zoom fatigued. So you try, but now when it comes to actual investment, nobody's gonna invest when they haven't visited a place. They say, well, why don't we wait up? Right now I've got people saying, why don't we do February next year? Why don't we do March? I'm like, yo, I'll be starting my third year. And even though I cover a wide scope of countries, I was only able to travel to New Zealand in a bubble about
Not too long ago, right?
too long ago. Yeah, and I only managed to present my credentials. They were going to run a course for all the ambassadors, and then they closed the bubble, and then that didn't happen. I haven't been to Indonesia yet, or the other six Pacific islands, and even in Australia, I made history here. I was the first ambassador ever or high commissioner ever to do my credentials on Zoom, online. Look at the screen and do my
I
credentials.
saw a picture.
Because otherwise I would not have been able to work, because you can't work in a country unless you have presented your credentials and in a way been given permission, as it were, that you do exist and you can get on with your business.
Yeah. So you can't even talk about the bilateral, commitment so far because you guys been really not being able
Well, I
to.
can talk about, I haven't really done as much as I would have, but so far I've been able to do a state visit to the state of Victoria, meet government, meet parliament, meet all the the organs that we normally work with, meet the Chamber of Commerce, have a couple of meetings with just people that have potential to come and invest, look at areas that we're interested in. For instance, in agriculture, I went to visit a farm that is largely dependent on science to produce and breed goats that exports to the, I've done that type of stuff. I've gone to New South Wales and
Wow.
done the same, but right now most of my meetings now that are real. I'm not saying government is not real, but that are private sector, are people with the money, people that will come and invest, have been pushed back to next year. I also did I didn't do a state visit, but I went and participated in Perth at the mining forum. But at least there you've got mining companies that are already existent in Botswana doing business or that are in the pipeline. So you are able to engage, facilitate where you can with entry into the country, especially at a point where we were closed as Botswana too. So I've still got Western Australia to do a state visit there. I've got Queensland. I've got all these places to go to, but I can't.
I believe that you're going to do a great job. So how did you feel when President Masi said, "Hey, you're going to have to go to Australia"? Was it more like I'm ready to serve my country? Was it more like I'm relieved from the last year's
It's like,
tension?
what? Me, diplomat? No, I talk too much. They'll kick me out of the country.
And so, so,
No diplomacy, so
yeah, no, don't, yeah, okay,
yeah, that was my first initial reaction. But because it was a conversation with many considerations, I eventually, once I sat down, consulted with my kids. I have 4 boys, and consulted with my family. I was like, yeah, I can do this. Let me try it out. I've never done it. I've been private sector. I've been public sector. I've been quasi-government. I've been parliament. I've been rural. So it's another way to grow and to serve. And in a way, much as it is diplomacy, but now diplomacy has moved more towards economic diplomacy. And I'm business 24/7. I understand that environment. So I understand how to open deals, and I understand how to get people to understand, to facilitate what is there. I can do that, but I had to do it under the power and the umbrella of government. So not too bad, not too hard either.
So you were born. Where were you born? Let's go back now.
I was born Koseroe to a teenage mother. She was gonna kill me, but she was a teenager because she was still doing her first year at teacher training college. Go Seroe Teacher Training College, and my dad.
I'm just right
there. And my dad, who was also at the teacher training college, Seroe, that's where they met. But they were not married, they were students. And my mom had to drop out, and I was with my mom, and then my dad finished and then came for me and married my mom, and the rest is history. They're together until my father died in 2005. My mom is still alive, very much alive.
And then you went to Gaborone. That's where you started your.
And then I spent because my mom was still little at the time when she went to Gaborone, left me in Kukuko Soroe, and and then once they had formalized me, now my dad married. I would then go Chadibe, visit my grandmother and my grandfather go Chadibe. So the holidays for us were this holiday la Chadibe Kozapong, these holidays la Seroe, these holidays la Radisele, these holidays la Mitela Moraking. Beautiful stuff, beautiful times, And then I went to Gabs, went to school, go Camp Primary School, I want to stand at 7. Then he decided to switch careers. So So I then went to Camp Primary School. I didn't go to private education as many people believe. I don't know why. And then from there I went to GSS from 1 to Form 3. And then I sabotaged myself. I decided that I wanted to go as far away from home as possible. I didn't know apply. So I took that form, I put Shashe, I think. I put my womb, and I put whatever, fake my father's signature, and deposited it to school. My father wanted tears and Makgato, so I did that. I am a teenager, I want to go away.
Right.
And then I passed very well. And then like a Minister of Education, and the year before, Lotsane so you went to Lotsane, you were a rascal. So yes, I was a very good student. My school was up in arms, especially my class teacher, Rwana Yoginga Isisoko Lotsane Gaborone Secondary School, especially given the perceptions then. My father was up in arms, my mom was up in arms. Linda, I was up in arms because I didn't want to go to Lotsane. So my dad went with me to Ministry of Education. One I get you and I go pass it to one. I'm not doing it. Check a Ramakato. For my meditation. But I'm not going to apply And by then I was crying because I didn't want to go. My dad said, here you go. So that's how I ended up in Lotsani.
Wow.
Did very well in Lotsani.
Yeah.
And then from there, I went to the UK. Stayed there about 7 years in total.
But Doctor, stop right, because sometimes people, when they just hear about Her Excellency Honorable Doctor's Minister of, they just don't understand that you were just like them.
Hey, I know how to go to school. Maybe I can't even relate to because I'm right. But you'll be told that every child must bring a piece of wood.
Right.
And we'll all bring a piece of wood from home, and you take it there. And those were school days. Those are beautiful days.
Those were beautiful days.
I do not understand for when you go to school, the raisins. I still don't know why there are the raisins. Once in a while, there will be these raisins. And then I told a story once where my standard 7 and my 6 will bully us at the gate to say, rather than give you and not just run,
Oh my goodness! Wow, those were beautiful days, though.
Yes, and I kept on losing shoes. Maybe that's why I thought I got to roll so so I like walking barefooted. So whenever we went to school, to play French skipping, whatever scenario is time. So my father went and bought.
So what happened out in Gorai?
Without shoes. Those were the days when we had shoes. That's school. It's black.
Right.
You had how they like. Right. And then you had shoes. That's Sonntag. And nothing else. Right now, I don't know. Maybe that's why I love shoes, because I just have so many shoes. I don't know what to do with them. But I love shoes.
Right.
Wow, and that's Sonntag. How could I go school? So my dad went and bought shoes. When we got to the third pair, my father said, over my dead body, walk. So I went to school. My teacher tried to plead with my dad. But eventually my mom managed to somehow, managed to get me some shoes somehow.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how basic I am.
Wow. So now you were in Gaborone, right?
I'm in the city. And I spend most of my time in the city. I get going intermittently to my grandmother from both maternal, paternal, and all that, and then I go to school. I had and I hope parents that are listening, I really was very clear in terms of what I wanted to do, but I was not in alignment with where my parents wanted me to go. Because I was a pure science student, pure biology, pure maths, pure whatever. I did 9 O levels, did additional maths all the time from 3 onwards. So my parents thought, science on. And I had passed to go to PESC. PESC was that pre-entry science course where
right. I remember PESC.
The crack.
Yeah.
So there's me refusing to go, and my dad calls a meeting. And I don't want to do a science-based degree,
Right.
Actually, there was a young uncle of mine. He's still alive, Rahobo Benson, I said, my parents go about one of these go university. University. And then I decided to apply to go to school in the UK. But I think that was misinformed. It was me giving my answers back. I didn't really go into the concert thinking, when the UK. So when I get to the UK, I find, no, can we have the BTEC national diploma in hotel operations? Me, diploma. That's what I degree. So
right.
I started fighting for me to say, no, I want to do a degree. I can't go back home. And I was told I couldn't, so I demanded to have a meeting with the late Renchindo, which was facilitated. And But my strategy was very simple. Was, you know what? So I was doing some subjects and I said distinction in every subject. So I got one point. So distinction in every subject. We had to get a lab diploma. And he was like, this meeting is not necessary. Give her what she wants. And he walked out of the boardroom.
Right. I can do better than this.
So I ended up with a Bachelor of Science degree in catering operations.
Okay.
Go Sheffield. And then I got a job with Trust House 40 for a year in London in the management trainee. And there's a profound thing that happened for me there. And one day, if I write a book, this story will have to come through. And I remember walking into
you can share with us right now. So
I can share with you because I went to that hotel, you know. I'm going to Trust House 40. It's a very well-known hotel. It's a 5-star hotel. I've got a good one to go and do my management training there. So I got this one. I could, you know, hotels normally they have this dark navy blue suit.
Yeah.
White shirts and, you know, I brought you uniform. Please put this uniform on. Uniform. I think I go back to hey. The chambermaids. Uniform. You know, I was sitting there. It took me a good 5 minutes or a quarter of a class. Hell no, this ain't gonna happen. That was me. Anyway, I don't know, something in me said, just go and see.
Yeah.
We will meet at 10 a.m. I'm going to assign you to this person who came to pick me up. You're going to be working attached to it. Really? So I said, I might as well finish.
Right.
At around 10 o'clock, I go back to the manager. Boom, here's your uniform. Navy blue. Can you please go put on your real uniform now? And then I came back, and then she goes, you know what? We do that, and only those that stay will stay with us forever. When the fact that you are with us, and apparently a lot of students will say, "Hell no, I'm not going to do that." I came as a manager, but in it, it taught me one thing, and this is what she said. She said to me, we put you through that process so that in the future, when you assign people different duties, you must know exactly how they feel, and you'll then alter your approach in accordance with that.
That's pretty good.
So it was teaching me a lot. I wasn't.
That's pretty good. I like that.
It was pride. I had to swallow that pride. And that pride set me to where I am today. So sometimes pride gets in the way of us and what you want to do. And right now, I can promise you, if you want the best hotel in the world, always look whether you see management by walkabout. Did you walk in and you see the management, my reception, had flowers and say, but ma'am, you know, are you okay? Would you like something? Management by walkabout. Those are the best hotels. Yes,
no, that's a valuable lesson, though. No, that's wonderful. Yeah. So and you finished and you ended up you ended up Debswana.
We had Debswana in Orapa. So here's me coming from London. By then, it's a trauma. When I was apparently every time you were in conversation with people, you know, when I was in the UK, when I was the nickname when I was but lapis. when I was, you know,
right.
So I went to Orapa. Beautiful time. Beautiful story. If you look what is happening in Botswana even now, most of the people in leadership positions across sectors in the country, ex-Debswana. They had a program for us from the day you entered, a management development program. You were a protege, you were assigned a mentor, you had periodic reviews, because you know when you come from school, You want to take over the company at that point in time. And everybody else, supervisor and stuff like that. And they would manage that process, that transition very well for you to understand what I might have the theory, but I don't know the implementation of the theory that I have learned. So, but my game plan was very clear. Because I want to go for the rest of my life. So from that day, I started calculating what they did. They prorated our sponsorship. They'd say we've sent you to school for X amount of years. You work for us for X amount of years. Every month you're waking off those months. So for me, it was 48 months. 48, yes, 4 years. And
So
I left at course azila bohelo la bondan. Kids azile nema says yemi kwa kami kiama game.
But let me ask you something though. Were there a lot of black people at the time at the top levels for Debswana?
Not necessarily, no. Debswana at the time when I left, at the top, I'll say at Exco. Exco, you probably have one. I think it was Ratangani at the time, and then Kohaburoni should have been Renchindo, and all that. So the majority were Makua. And that was also my issue. Go Orapa. Those of you that were with me in Orapa, that there's horror stories.
And I wanted to ask you about that because
I'm not going to go there. But they're not horror stories. They were legitimate stories of questioning authority and questioning things. And how was I I'll give you an example. For instance, I was asking, we would have reviews with the general manager of Orapa Mine at the time. We do all the graduate trainees, and I'll say, how come we're only selling our diamonds through one source? That's an innocent question to a market. You say, look, I want multiple sources. But what you don't understand at the time is maybe there's an agreement at a bilateral level with government and DPS, what it means, it's architecture and, but you send me to school to come and ask questions.
And you were asking yourself all these questions,
Yeah, and then when I asked, I realized, oh no, I'm like, I don't know. So, yeah.
Wow.
Debswana was good. And at the time, Debswana is a company that you leave. I even remember when I applied, my mentor, my boss, they called me, said, Debswana kana uhiwa gesa mahala, mutakasa mahala, bana ba go ba go tsena sekolo mahala. And I said, no, ba me ke tata ke ba ituelela, me ke ta ituelela good schools,
Right.
Only stay here for those things. O tsenya tswa ha ba o be ha go senyegile o bitsa batho ba maintenance ba to tsenya ba o. So a lot of people would stay because it's just that life, and it takes away your ability to hustle. Not hustle for life, to hustle for yourself, determine where you want to go, how far, how soon. And I felt that Orapa was too slow for me, and it was going to pigeonhole me and limit my potential. I'll give you an example. My child, my firstborn, was about 3-4 years at the time, and it was a puppy. What do you want to be when you grow up? Every morning the bus is on Monday. That's all he sees. That's excitement.
Right.
When I took him to nursery school, Sophie, may her soul rest in peace, who was the teacher, says,
Right.
This kid will just wait for that. and then remember when I left, I went to be at Air Botswana. My child visits my office. I've got aeroplane and he sees airplanes taking off. Papa, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a pilot, Mama. I said, yes, baby, let's go. So sense of what surrounds you, I felt that no, I needed more. So I went back to the city. I took a calculated gamble. Go Debswana, you go similar house C band, then we're supposed to go to D band, then you're supposed to go to F band and stuff like that. And I felt they do what they call the CPA, career path analysis. They analyze your brain, how fast can you go there? Like she's a high flyer in her early 40s, she'll be in the D band.
Right.
I mean, I'm like 26, 27. You're telling me so I applied from C band. I applied for E band. And it's like everyone said, how can I do D band? I guess that is the bottleneck.
Right.
I looked at what the job entails. I can do it. And I got the job and I did it. And that's how, if you look at my CV on correct, I ended up as commercial manager at Air Botswana. They moved me from HR to commercial because I understood that, and I think it was as a result of having done the re-engineering exercise to put it back into profit making, concentrating on the right things and all that. So I ended up as commercial manager, and that was me now going totally business. And Barloworld came and as for the only time I make a place in Tiro was that job. Other than that, I've been headhunted. I'll be sitting in my office minding my business. There'll be a call. But the Peter Stevenson would like to meet with you. Who is he? He's so what dude, what do you want? I think I want you to work for me. Why? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then I said, let me think about it. Yeah, go work for you. And I'm there. I get a call from somebody. Look, we are placing for BEDIA. We think you are the best fit. Who said I'm looking for a job? I'm not looking for a job. I was retiring at the age of 43. I was retiring. I was done. I was going to make my own money. That was my plan in my head.
Right.
And as a result of that persuasion, they said, look, bare minimum, let's just take your CV. We'll take you. You'll go to the interview. And I go to the interview and I'm hired. And then I'm minding my own business at BEDIA. 18 months into the job, I get a call from our former president who would like to nominate you to come and be with us in government. I don't know anything about government. Why? Because of what you're doing where you are right now. And I end up there. And then I'm minding my business in Gaborone. I get a group of elders who
which wasn't a bad idea, by the way.
Which one?
For him to go and look, say, hey, we want Dorcus here.
I had 48 hours. I had 48 hours to decide to quit. The last call that I had was 9 o'clock. I had quit by 12, calling the board meeting at my board chairman. And then by 2 o'clock, I'd call my staff, told them. Then I went home. And then 8 o'clock, I said, sure, what am I wearing? And then get the guy who did a who said, "Why not? He said, and boom, yeah, it was like 48 hours.
Right.
No time to think about it. And then when I was there, remember, I was just in parliament, specially nominated. I kept on saying, if you recall. But, when you get these old men coming to you, there's about 6 of them, delegation, with the hey, this get your microphone in
yes, I listen to those sessions sometimes.
I was trying to this mic and basically get people to believe in the hype, So to get the long story short, I then agreed. I decided
keep us over go parliament in
I know no, it does. It was nice, it was and everybody had to you had to know how to jab and how to jab back and how you grow emotionally, because in politics you make your worst mistakes when you are emotional. So how much bua le kakwa o tshwanetse mo khotenyana gore tlhaloganyo ya go iriana ba tenega aba bua a tenegile o lose that timing completely. So how do we kine ke gona go bereka go ngadisa ke re o ka re re tsenya dingalo ya go tswebera ne re go bisa go tswebera ka go tswebera o lose that timing o ya le now na re ka ntse ke go rena o re but all the time mo ka o lengwe chaile next. So you learn to not put those things in your headspace and be focused and know this is a jam. We used to say, so I'm going to ignore that. Later. And then you focus on what you need to do. If you can't do that, if you can't develop that skill, how can you politics? In your emotional state, not how I can send thing. So I say to people that want to join politics, especially the younger, deal with your emotional intelligence. Recognize worry. I'm going to talk about a parliamentarian. He will kill me, but he's a friend of mine. He's called Khan.
Okay. Yeah, I know Khan. I mean, from far. So,
and I say that he sees this. He's okay with it. Because
Okay.
one day when I had tested the good time, to test puso, and on my kana boxy, what is the best thing I you know? So the best thing was point of order. The speaker, Emma, what is your point of order? Kore tota remote kindergarten, sentence hell. Ka gore kindergarten ke yone no ruta batho gore as a guy gore ke bua diwela tse le gore di out of order myself one gore he's not in line with the order of the businesses, and I'm pissing him off if I'm allowed to use that word. And then he got so angry when I put the back to look at Batsama. So he was like, really? So you don't hate me? You are always how you hate me. I don't know. Why would I hate you? I don't hate you. In fact, I gonna leave. So that man drove me to Pakalane, Ratamari, even today, and he said,
that's beautiful.
Go back in your journey all the time. How do my job? You walk out, life goes on, and you know, that that's politics. So you must grow beyond that. So like it's no, but you will never be able to speak, you know. So I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's tactics.
Yeah.
This latest fight, this young man won a loser at Dwayne.
Wilder.
Yeah. So more boxing. Why you have let that one all like it's not allowed. Me I'm hunel.
Right.
How them? We're right. It's like that.
But that's what the other guy was doing, though. So he was doing to him.
No, I'm not saying he was doing it. And the other guy now, all license was and Taylor had said it. And as you do that, what do? You frustrate him. He was doing it to annoy him, you know?
Right. Now that you're talking about, women in politics, Your Excellency, I want to ask you, because not a lot of these young women are going to be recruited into politics, right? So what is the actual pipeline for them to enter politics? Because I think we need to see a lot of them in there, right?
To me, you should not be invited into politics. And I haven't done a study, but I have observed. When you are invited into politics, you don't have staying power. And I will also tell you, much as I was a reluctant politician, I went in to go and do a job, and then I was going to go out in terms of my plan. I quickly realized, because I was invited, for lack of a better word, into politics, you do not have the same, you're not respected. You understand? Your voice is not respected. So that's not just in parliament. That is also at party level. That's at a grassroots level. People, you and I will think, oh, she's done so well. She because in the private sector, I worked my butt off. I worked very hard.
You worked hard for sure. Yeah.
And I was successful in what I did. I was top talent, 200 people in Barloworld out of 24,000 employees. I could work anywhere in the world. I had earning power. I could dictate terms of how much I wanted. So you think everybody believes, oh, you are an asset out of politics. So you are entering, and you must be aware of that. That's why when I was going to be nominated again in 2009, I decided, no, when I come in my own terms. I'm going to prove to you that I can come with the power base, grassroots base. I'm going to find myself a constituency. It won't be a city constituency. I'm going rural. I get now I'm dealing with the perception now of a city girl. So I go. And my opponent at the time, Banaban dismiss you must understand.
Yes,
and my opponent never did like it's only do it same. When I was on the ground with the people,
right,
and the people who knew my roots, who could understand where I was coming from. Who saw me growing up? You know, that in every perception that I mean, I wouldn't just wake up in the morning and go find some place where I'm not known. I had done my homework, and that's why I won with the numbers that I did. So, Baba Tangota, I would strongly suggest what is sustainable is to choose to come.
Okay.
And if you choose to come, have a strategy, have a plan, have mentors, you know, learn about the art of politics. It's a different ball game altogether.
It's a different ball game.
Different ball game altogether. It's not like the corporate world. People are not going to thank you for the fact that you delivered this and that, you know. I mean, I delivered in my constituency. I even told them that it was at least $1 billion worth of developments. I worked hard. I built schools with private sector money, raising funds. I built offices. I did tangible things, you know. And it was according to, did you do things, developments where government could not do? Did you use your influence to be able to attract investment? Yes, I ticked all that, but I still lost elections. So you must understand what the art is. But come in your own right so that you can sing to your own song, and you don't owe anybody anything. You don't want to owe anybody anything. Well, now Kimudirile, look at what she's doing. No. You don't want to owe anybody anything. Come in your own terms and just come in and do what you gotta do.
Yeah. No, freedom away so I read this beautiful article by this guy who really knows you, you know, he admires you, and he was talking about you know, when you were at BEDIA.
Paul. No, that took me aback, you know. I don't usually get accolades, so Ahmed, that one brought tears to my eyes because everything that you put in there, it's me. It's
right,
what I do.
Right. So,
and I never had time to look at it, you know.
Yeah, no, I wanted to ask you, but maybe perhaps my question is, how did you improve BEDIA to align Botswana with international markets, and how did you create a conducive environment to attract
BEDIA was very simple, and it was very simple for me, coming from the highly pressurized global company where I would remember at some point we were called, after Botswana devalued Dipula twice in succession. And I think it was a difference of about 3 months between one devaluation to the next. And we had positioned Barloworld in Botswana as the treasury of Barloworld because of how simple it is to do business, how simple it is to take money in, out, and all that. So we were very successful in the group, and instead of paying dividends into another market, we retained the dividends to use the money to be able to invest into our market and other markets. And look, you do take forward cover in terms of insurance to protect against currency fluctuation. We didn't see that one called devaluation coming because we are not a banana republic. We've never been gonna be, you know. So you did not cushion yourself against that at the time. I'm not saying we were a banana republic at the time. No, I shouldn't. You shouldn't get me wrong. It's just that going banana republic every day. But we never had the need to devalue the pula as a cushion for the economy. I mean, no, but overnight you lose millions. Okay, because some of our guys had not taken the forward cover that I'm talking about. So the first time, watch out. Make sure now you protect this thing. When it happened the second time, we were called. We were given an hour in the Barloworld boardroom to say, is Botswana the place to be or not? We want to disinvest. And I was given the responsibility to do the presentation by the team at the time.
Right.
In 3 minutes, you must have made your case, or else Rajwala. So you come from there, you come to well, we did the presentation, good 3 minutes. It was over, baby. They were not investing out of it. So I went to BEDIA. So I felt it was an easier environment, not as pressurized. So the first thing I did was, you want to know where the business is, right? And you want to see how far they've come. And I want to know what the strategies, what the objectives are. We were being funded around 30 million at the time to run the organ. And I said, I want to see how much FDI you are saying you're going to bring in. And at the time, the target was about 50. I said, 30 million, 50, it doesn't make sense to me. You're going to run at a loss. because we had other benefits and all those other things. So I said to them, let me look at the pipeline projects. What is the story? And then I said, look, I'm going to the board. And I said to the board, this year, I'm going to bring in, with my team, $500 million worth of FDI. And instead of the board saying, yeah, and there was that one board member who's totally, who shall remain nameless, who was from the private sector, who said, no, the CEO, she's coming and she knows what she's doing. And she'll, let her be. And we brought in, that year, we brought in 510 million worth of investment. I had assessed the pipeline, and the bottlenecks were superficial. It was land allocation. It was this, the things that were stopping us. They were very simple things that we had to engage, get them done, boom. So I knew that I was going to get that $500 million, and I did. But I also looked at how BEDIA looked at itself. One of the objectives was for them to be the best investment authority in the region. I said, why not the world? Why do you want to limit yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
So why can't we be the best in the world? Yeah. And when I left on the 18 months later, they were coming. I remember in the VIP section, and they were coming from Cape Town. But that was trophy being the best investment authority in the continent. And we managed to do that in 18 months. So getting the disciplines. When Paul Moore, I said to them, when I go to the board, I want 100% resolutions approved by the board. I don't want to go to the board and not get an approval. But what does it take for you to get an approval? You must do your homework. And how can boarding? You say tactical withdrawal. Can we have another bite at this thing? And you go fix what you need to fix, and you go to, rather than go to the board, And what I had done with that board was I had analyzed the board packs for about a year, four boards going back. And any decision that was coming from board level 4, when the private sector, it does work. It comes to the board, it goes. So I said, I'll pay anything from 4 boards, it will be red. Anything from 3, it will be orange. Anything from 2 to be yellow. Anything from the last one will be, orange, and then the other one will be yellow, and then green will be what we come with. And the thing was a bloodbath. So I had to push my board back. I said, you are not making decisions. You wanted to buy the CEO's residence at the time. It was, I can't remember whether it was 24 million. Now, because you've taken 12 months going back and forth on this, it's now 32 million. So time is money. So I had to also bring discipline into my board. I can't be in a board. Board meeting, no, 3 hours we are done. So we do the executive and the executive summary. So you want detail, you go to say go page 500. Executive summary, 10 pages too. So I changed the way of doing business, and I had young people. Paul Moore was a very good writer. He could write. And I'll tell you where my writing came from. Joshua Galiford at Air Botswana.
Okay.
Joshua Galiford, look, he eventually left Air Botswana, but he taught us, sorry, you are as good at things that you write, even beyond your time. But what you know about Pekera? And also he said, how when a board member is reading at home, I prepare la board. They don't need to call you. It must explain itself. And then it makes it easier for them to make decisions. So that's why my board meetings came from 8 hours to 2 hours. We are done. So we don't need to have a lunch. I mean, we are done. So it was that, and I was happy that Paul Moore wrote what he did. That unauthorized goings on.
No, that was beautiful. But I also read somewhere this guy, I think he was also working for you with other aides. And one of the girls or the boys was supposed to write something for you, and then she she brought the article to you, and it was like, no, go back.
even now,
and the young lady went back home crying. But she worked on her paper, and tomorrow she showed you the paper, and you were all like, you gave all the hugs. Like,
yes, I tell you as it is. When you do well, I also tell you as it is.
Right.
They grow, and she looked at what she'd written, and she looked at what she's written. I'm like, Rika Tule wena, mo le mo. You know, it says, yeah. So you push people
to greatness.
To greatness. And I say to people, my teacher, my primary school teacher, who was at my 50th birthday, at some point, I hated that woman with a passion. I hated her for two things. Number one, in when I was in school with my parents. My parents, what I have done. So I didn't like that. Two, Malicha. I'm one of those students that if I concentrate in a lesson, I can better. I don't need to go down to so I must execute. So this teacher had assessed my abilities. By the way, I'm doing that now with my master's. I like MBA.
Right.
I'd write and I think I got 75%. That's a story that I like to tell. 75%. So what had the book? I don't know how can I book I make it 75%. I got standard 6. Who quite low the average. When you know next door limna. 60. Who quite low very good. Hey. Yeah, Lara. King and I got very good at 60. Now 75, you got average. Why is it? Kawadira. Why is this woman doing like 75? What average? And it was after the years that I realized what because I think she did explain what
she knew. Yeah.
90, kind of 100, and 75. Give me your best. So it was later when I realized, you know, when you manage people, you assess potential. You see but what they can get away with. No, with my team, I push you to where I believe your potential lies. Sometimes you're not even aware of it. You think I'm a slave driver. You think I'm being unfair. But once you realize greatness and you look back, you say, wow. And then you yourself then set yourself in your own pace because you've discovered what you can do it. So that's the type of leader I am where I am. So I'm sure if you talk to some or many of them, they will tell you, yeah. We work very hard. Yeah. And we play hard and we work very hard.
Right. So you led BEDIA from 2007 to 2009, right?
Yes.
And during that time, when the world experienced economic depression, what should countries like Botswana do to come out of this pandemic recession? You know.
You mean like Karen? What should Botswana do right now?
Right.
At any time, or running a country or running an economy or running an organ, it's like, to me, it's like running a home. The only difference is scales, you know, and scope. How's what do you do? You know, when I get right now, I mean, the youngest is 16, the oldest is 28. But every time house number, and generally it will be around the time whether we are building a house. Juice, box oros. How go tata re tswa go oros ba paka mazoi. Ha ile gore ga gona mazoi ba paka metsi ba tsentse mo icing ha ba go tabuga ba etsa go tabuga bona it's even healthier for them. So they know how to tighten the belt and decide on what priorities are. Ha ile gore every Sunday we go out for lunch and we go to Namibia.
You stop doing that for a little while, right?
You know, I remember a time when I was building in the Gulf estate. My maid at the time said, now I'm going to hire grocery at 1.5. Now I 5,000. And I realized that I was buying relevant things. And that's absolute necessity. I was buying by brand name because that's what I could recognize. And on Atakasuki, no brand. And President, what does now take that to the economy. You reprioritize. you'd have to spend on those things that will give you more to be able to put back into the economy. So out of a pandemic, it is important to reprioritize. And I'm glad currently at home, His Excellency is leading this agenda. Yeah, we must reset. Reset means let's look at what we are doing now and where we need to be. Reset our agenda in alignment with the challenges that we have in front of us. At basic level, what do I do at an embassy? I look at my budget items and I say, what is it that I can do without? If I didn't do this, I like asking my team, if we didn't do this, we'll die. Can we live without it? It's something new that we want. We haven't had it, but have we died? No. Let's reprioritize, send that money back to government to be able to put it in something else. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Because there's just a lot of people right now who lost their jobs back home. I get, but it's the pandemic, so
It is the pandemic.
yeah.
It is the repercussions coming out of that. Sometimes I look at social media and they'll probably kill me, but I'm gonna say it. I think social media is killing our people.
Yeah.
Youth, because social media is a superficial life. It gives you this power. There's no accountability. You can speak as you wish, and nobody say no. How we send that media able to you can sit out and just complain and complain and complain. Whereas if you do that in an environment where somebody can say, how to what did you do? It will be people. I used to, my approach to public health, for instance, was the first time where they looked at me and said, you're I went to Parliament and I said, your health is your responsibility, is not mine. This is me, Minister of Health, before I changed the ministry to Health and Wellness. So I'm changing.
So you changed that.
Minister clinic. Every time you want a clinic, I failed. So that's not my job. Ask me about what I'm doing to improve the health of the nation. So I said, I'm getting people to understand that the health is their wealth. Hence, it is their responsibility. How's I talk about it's as simple as that. But how we talk about at entry level, I get. But at low now, where you are drinking the Hennessy and you're drinking this, you're over drinking them.
Right.
You come to me and you want me to fix your liver. Why should I fix your liver when you are the one who affected your liver? So responsibility, And again, I have to tell a story that brought tears to my eyes, but tears of joy. Because I was getting the nation to move. I had this movement there. We must work for our health. I would work 20 kilometers everywhere I went. I said the health and wellness program without activity, it's wrong. I go to our ministry in our meeting. So if you came to a ministry of health and wellness, you will find grapes and apples.
Okay.
Like what biscuits. And there are times that I just switched off the elevators. And my office was on the 10th floor and I walked every day up and back when I was at Tima.
Right.
So that you can get your heart to, and it's something that I'm so passionate about because you can actually see and changing the conversation to say, we're focusing on HIV and AIDS, but how much are we spending on this program? Vis-a-vis how much you are spending on non-communicable diseases, your cancers, your heart attacks, your all those things, they are related and associated with the lifestyle that we live. And you find that AIDS spend on AIDS TB combined. So where are you spending your money? Where the problem is, or where there is a problem, but there's an even bigger problem that's coming to hit you? So that's where you went there, and some of the privileges that we have in government is to travel. I had traveled to Cuba, and I had gone to a specialist hospital, and I found specialists playing cards. Almost have room playing cards. Chairs, but how
Right.
many ends? So what? And when we are doing this, that's how you want it to be. And if you recall, go Cuba, you find that 100 10. You
D10,
know,
yeah, of course, of course.
so you started saying, for me to be relevant as a minister, it's not on how many clinics and how many hospitals I can build. It is on the health of the nation. When I can now start doing disease profiles and saying, no, our lifestyle diseases are coming down. And now let's say the lifestyle. When you look at COVID right now, COVID, yeah, go back to the comorbidities. Well, how to come? Also associated to lifestyle, what we eat. 90% of people don't eat fruits. You must see ordinary people ka sa ha go le monate sente ke nama ga ena salad nyana e thusang go silega kwa e silo kwa na mahura mo teng ga le huranyana le la steak
And I got to it's a namanyana, nama.
nama tota that's us, you know, but there are repercussions for that. That's why monna mogolo mo re le kuka ko gae le kuka na mathata. No, those are the realities we live in. How to play with the COVID it better when I because you can't breathe, you know, your body can't react. So the conversations, but anyway, the story that I was trying to tell you is this old woman who was in her 80s, may her soul rest in peace because she's since died. Well, let's say 38 degrees, 39 degrees. I'm driving in the village. And I'm like, this thing catches me. So I am and then she goes, ke tshaba Dorcas. Hey, ngwananyana wa hona. Ka re go again. Ke ke tima koloi. And I walk in. Ka ra re ngwananyana go stop go banda go bitsa ngwananyana. A re ngwana a re tsedile. Oh, I'm looking at him like no bua le nna ke se ke le tsedile mo letsatsing. Wow. You know, so this old woman
I get it.
arthritis and she's doing it. What she didn't know now, how then you also have a problem and all those other things. But bottom line was the message was getting across and people were now taking accountability. And Habas now and stuff like that. So yeah, that's me right there.
No, I remember you as a minister of health. You know, you used to go out and and wellness. You used to go out and encourage people, you know, to go and walk and run or do something, and then you come back and talk about the cigarettes and all that kind of stuff.
Scafe, negative scafe. Talk the language that the people understand. Don't talk above people or beyond people. People say, "I'm taking a rata ubi asutsuts." Yeah, niggas are wisi tuts. Kineki be a language no or mutogi be a let. Utan taloganya kabuhi. I get a scafe that I'm fed. Or when a scafe is a hasu berekele. Un taloganya get you know, tobacco, as you recall from how good to get trauma tata. I get a scafe area sister Marwabu or no one. Hey, problem. Hey, one taloganya kabuhi. I get Wanakas. Don't forget.
Right.
All the way.
Now, all the Swearela has it to take it out. You know, you have served and you're still serving our country and your people. So in 2011, when you were the Minister of Trade and Industry, Botswana signed a deal to relocate the Diamond Trading Center to Botswana, right? I like that move.
And that was not in my portfolio, but I did take part in it. I get in the negotiations. There's a committee that's elected. It's a negotiator. That portfolio is under the Ministry of Minerals and all that.
Right. Exactly.
It's a big thing. It's a big deal. Those were protracted negotiations. Our team was negotiating very hard. And now I remember I was wrote in towards the end, he was the minister at the time. He's going to be addressing potential people by the side holders who were worried about the environment in Botswana, you know, perceived or real, mainly perceived. And I went in my portfolio to join the other minister in this forum. So I asked these people, you know, I don't know why you're worried about Botswana. Botswana. Hey. Le gona go tsamaya go di countries tse le gore ke bo minus 40 degrees. You
Right.
understand, man? Botswana, really now? So yeah, I had just basically gone to explain the environment. Kana go na le batho ba ile go ga go ga ba itse sepe ka mahatse kana sepehela. But no go Botswana, you know, we are fortunate. I think sometimes we don't count our blessings. Ha ngwana Botswana yo balance standard 7. O itse gore go na le lehatse go na le continent. Go na le ko enyana. Ba bangwe ba go mahatse. Ba bona geographic. Ba bona di na ba ipolela gore ba go itela di lion di tsama mo di tsama gare ga molo. You know, they're going into literally, and they're just going to be. But hey, lang, we've got roads, we've got infrastructure, we've got hotels,
Right.
You know, so education. So you know, it was one of the biggest challenges. But anyway, going back to this, Rona as Ministry of Trade and Industry at the time, our ministry, our sister ministry, has laid the ground and persuaded investors, and we had a very good argument. For Rona, really the largest producer of diamonds by value in the world. I mean, we are the diamonds, and we have demonstrated to the world our diamonds were for development. Why should the diamonds are not
Exactly.
so that out of that we can have downstream industries, we can beneficiate and do all that. And it was dovetailing into our agenda as Minister of Trade, because when we went out to lure investors into Botswana, we could tell them what sectors they could go in, and some of the sectors were within the diamond industry in terms of jewelry manufacturing, and all that. So it was a very good strategy because we were working hand in hand.
Wow. Sitting working like I said is thank you for explaining all this, and some of these things I didn't even know. So I want to go back to the issue of employment and maybe creating some businesses, right? So why is our country still behind when it comes to internet infrastructure?
Yeah, that answer I can try.
You can try. I know it's not
When
enough.
I just left, I had been Minister of Transport and Communications, and that was bang on my table. Where are we as far as this internet infrastructure and all that, and what happened to government, e-government, and all that? Those were the things that we are now sitting down saying, where did we go wrong? Why have we not arrived where we ought to be? And I was working with a committee under my ministry, comprising us and the private sector, how much money should be there. You will recall that when I was there, and it's a view that I still hold, and I think it was a view that was embraced by government. It still is. At the time was, you know what, if you want to be serious about this ICT, have a ministry. What ICT hell?
Right.
Don't have a ministry of ICT who cooperate transport who cooperate. You can imagine gore ha tsela e yang ko kasane senyegile. E di dikuti. Ga bo go to ICT ka go ira mpele ka ba re tswara ba nkanyentse. So you got things that are competing with the center go ngwela go go nna go safara ICT and all that. I also dealt with this topic when I was chairing the thematic working group economy, where we were saying the way we should approach budget, we should look at things that can facilitate us to be able to have the right infrastructure at ICT level, at every level, to be able to create those sectors that can create employment again, and then bring into the economy. So yeah, we are getting there. I can the answer I got right now. I'm no longer at that point for but I think that has been set. I think the focus has been there, continues to be there, and how's anako gai how's to but we can do better than where we are right now.
In 2012, when you went to South Africa as a Minister of Trade and Industry, you mentioned that Botswana was the least corrupt country. Did you really believe that?
Yes, I did. And it was not me saying that. It was a survey that is carried year on year
Mhm.
by Transparency International, which is a reputable institution, which believes or any government, la America, le England, any government, there is corruption in government. He didn't say there was no corruption. He said we were the least corrupt in terms of measurement. So they had done the necessary, and they were telling us, and I was super proud of that, because we don't want to be the most corrupt. We don't even want to be corrupt. So at the time when we were being told after, I mean, we would have surveys the business environment, doing business environment, number 56 out of 159 countries. In mining, we were number one at some point, destination to invest in. Thank you, and all that. Let me just take some water.
Yes.
Not because of this question,
Yeah.
not because of this question, but because I just need water. So I did believe, and kind of happy. The perceptions. Right now, the perception believes that's the perception. It hasn't been measured. Okay.
Right.
So I was talking about something that had done an evaluation, came up with results, and it was understood. So who was I to argue with it? I'll give you another example. Right now we're going through COVID, and COVID really has been a challenge, like in many countries. At the way we're bailing that thing right now, I believe when you come back, there will be no Botswana. But you must look at your statistics.
Okay.
How many cases did you have? COVID. How many are recovered cases? We don't talk about those. That's too good to talk about.
Right.
We want to talk about we are not wired to talk about what is good for us. Look, one person who died of COVID is one too many. But when you look at our numbers, we're at 2,000 and something out of a population of 2 million, given the extent to which it was COVID. And then you look at how many people we lost out of HIV and AIDS, how many people we lost out of NCDs and all that. You start realizing the numbers are not as horrendous as they're perceived.
As they've been depicted.
I'm looking at it from a scientific perspective. I take it into out of context. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I was sitting at that ministry and I was looking at the number from every component. That thing about COVID, because once you lock people inside houses, you're affecting the economy. And how to the economy is down. We have to build up the economy. And the expectations, people have suffered and stuff like that. So you need to navigate all that. But, Malaba, I was looking at the hospitals that are suddenly no patients. Again. And guess what we are doing as well? Very busy. Really means in 3 weeks' time. Guess what's going to happen? We'll be back again raw, man. So now my approach to public health was take responsibility. And I'll say this literally it's 600 bucks. The pill is at EP in a 12 pool for a month. So you are sitting here now I value you alive for 2 months. Saying 2 months you're gonna die. So we have to have hard conversations with people. I was saying when I right now, you can buy you medication for 3 months. People have abilities to do things for themselves, but we have done things for them for so long that we have disabled them, or they're disabled from doing things for themselves that matter to them. Your health is yours. That's what you must value. You want to be alive. You want to see your grandchildren. BP, so I used to have those conversations that were hard at first, largely fueled by Politiku who were saying, Minister are we I'm saving our people from you because So I think we must push that agenda. Ne? We must just push that agenda. Gore mongwe le mongwe ha leng teng a itse gore ke le gore ke mo letsatsing ke na le ability ya gore ke tsamaye ke ha moriting. That's embedded in our Setswana thing. Ga gore ga o ka go a thuso e bile ga gore bang ba ithola marapo. Go ra gore we are enabling you to know that you have certain powers yourself without having to depend on another person. Because how moemela, you won't move. You'll be stuck. You know, so I wish the conversations, platforms such as yours, let's push this agenda about Motswana, okay, tirela eng. Na re gola nkuku ya rona ne ba gore even this whole thing ya gore ga go tisa le go nko skweleng. No, it's not what's a government okay. No, tell bana gore na ga ba e goja. Ma go go next door batho ngadi le go ngwana. So we're focusing on the problem. What was the problem? Bana ga bana goja. Let's facilitate that. Whereas the conversation is always about government okay. Even the good things that government is doing. Okay. We are not even, we have had so many things done for us. To an extent that they're so normal to us that you don't value them. You know, where in the world do you wake up in the morning, if you are born and you are bright, you go to school. I don't care whether school is saying or not, but you go to school. What pass, right? How is that pass our university? What's Australia? Can work when you're like, over hates. How has our boy got a person? Hey, guy. I mean,
okay.
So we then facilitate Ronald Lema Politiki when I didn't do that. But we facilitate guy. When we know very well that governments are supposed to provide conducive environment to make that happen, including you creating employment for yourself. Then government is saying, here's a job, here's a job, here's a job. That's the reality that doesn't exist anyway. It doesn't exist in America. It doesn't exist in the UK, but we are not teaching our people. So they believe and you just have to go there. No, it doesn't work. And I'm not talking about Botswana. I'm talking about the continent, and other continents.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Dorcas, how do you think your thoughts on the African Continental Free Trade Agreement?
The African Continental. I was in the group. I was chairing the SADC as trade minister at the time when we were dealing with this issue, the first inaugural meeting, which was in South Africa. I was in that meeting and I was chairing our subsection because now it was that continental. The whole idea is to allow trade to happen in the whole of the continent, i.e. you invite an investor into Botswana who's going to manufacture retail, whatever stuff. They must know that they access the entire African market. It's a good thing. It's also something that, if not done properly, could be a bad thing. Because our argument at the time was, you've got within the continent markets that are so mature in terms of their productive capacities, their manufacturing capacities, and so forth. How boom, those that already have that capacity are going to export and take advantage of the economies of scale and export to those that don't have. And once you allow that to happen, I can go up and down. My economies of scale around my productive capacity. I will never be able to compete with the person who has economies of scale. The goods that we get from China vis-a-vis the goods because they can produce volumes. And so the pricing is here. So it will be more because you have to get more than what you used to produce. And then you can compete. And once you can't compete, you will always be a consumer. And we don't want now this consumer to be the Southern African countries in particular, productive capital, not just Botswana. You consumer from your large markets. Kenya is a large market. Egypt is a large market, and so forth. I can go on about the large markets that have more productive capacity. I did that to smaller countries. They haven't developed. That's where your infant industry protection comes in. Nyame le haribula are ntoreleng gore ha go ha re protect re re nyama ba ba gole pele e tare ba sna gola ke gone re ta developer. But remember, when you do that, You've got the consumer on the other side. You're re reke dilori tse di cheap. Le rona re batla gore reke dilwana tse di cheap. Yeah, you can be now, but in the long term, you'll never get up. That's why when I was Minister of Trade and Industry, as you know, I was very much anti, and I still am, the malls that are done kalitso. Because before you know it, your informal infrastructure, informal, it's dead. Your almost semi-formal sector, your retail, your entry level, it's dead, and it will never get up. You know,
Right.
I was having conversations at the time with all my retailers and saying to them, "Not that I like about the you have what are these two items? Because we have people that can do that. Then go and set up along the border. So these days you must balance, and the maturity level of industry or the maturity level of the economy must be ready to be able to participate as well. Otherwise, if you don't do it properly and listen to the popular,
That's good. So when is the Minister of Health and Wellness?
Yes, wellness. You got it.
You emphasize the girl child as the most vulnerable demographic to HIV. I believe the emphasis hasn't changed though. Why is the girl child the most vulnerable?
Demographically, we have more girls than boys. We have more women than men. I agree.
Yes.
La short I don't believe I said that. But anyway, so there's one male to go around in men.
Okay. So how come now they don't allow polygamy? No, but anyway, that's I'm not trying to ask that.
The girl child passion really came from way before I came into government.
Right.
And we were forever looking at the empowerment of the girl child, go sporting. If you recall, when I was Botswana National Sports Council chairperson, and then how I came in was having come in as the founding president of Women in Sport. And my role when I came in was to ask the question, given the demographics, Sarona, why don't we have the same representation in sports at competition level and even at development level that reflects our niche? I
know.
To an extent that even netball, if you recall, netball
was run by a man.
And I said, this is ridiculous, so ridiculous. So we need to change. So we push the agenda to I'd go as the sports council chair. We have 30 sport codes. Out of 30 sport codes, just men.
Yeah.
No woman. And then, after that agenda that we were pushing, then we started having president of netball, women, president of badminton, women, president of volleyball, women, president. Now, local footballer, vice president, because we were pushing, because we had the capability and ability. It was just the perception, the culture, thing. And so we started saying, yeah, and stuff like that. So this passion of me of women empowerment, goes back to Gibala Form 1, GSS. And I didn't know that it was politics at the time. No, BEDIA figure. And then as a girl child, Gibala Form 1, I get interviewed, and who interview about 1966. And one of those, what is my understanding of independence and all that? Independent. I don't believe we're independent. This is me at 11 years. No, this is a story that was widely covered in Kutano.
Right.
And I often say then I was called to to the barracks or bontsua why. I'm like, what if I choose to do? I can, you know. So I've been passionate about it to cut the long. So I got and I'm thinking to us also work. And one of the ministries that I enjoyed working at in the agenda, especially that at the time I was also president, women's wing, and we managed there to push for the signing of the SADC protocol. I was very happy with that one. We pushed. Must sign and ratify that protocol because initially they had just initialed. And out of that now is to work and domesticate it and start putting it in your laws. And that's the process that they're doing now. The other one was where there was a gap between the age young wana musitsana, not wana musitsana, the age or what is a child in the penal code and the age in the Child's Act. So ne re batla go nela alignment go re ngwana nne ngwana go se ka gana go to ngwana ke 21 ka go to ke 18 because you recall go no gona di kgantse di ntse defilement and me how ta re defilement how tsena go penal code di bua se sele how tsena go child act bua se re nya a ngwana nne ngwana go bua ka 18 and below. And we sponsored as the BDP women's wing, and then it came to me, Kiloko gender, or to us, rather. Korean must be it must become law. Hore reads or harwana rain again, and all that. So I've been passionate at a social level, I would say. Starting from a social level to then when it became the normal ordinary work that I do on a daily basis. Yeah.
So are we allowed to talk about the case in Sabina? Oh, that's
you can talk about it. Depends what you're gonna say. How
So what happened in Sabina though? Because there was a girl over there who was abused, right? And then she didn't receive justice immediately.
Well, there was a reported case. I'll put it in the right language. There was a widely
please, because some of the stuff that we read.
There was a widely reported case concerning a then counselor, sitting counselor who belonged to the BDP party. And the alleged case was that he had impregnated, to the best of my recollection, a young lady who was underage and all that, if you recall. And the whole thing was politicized. Now I came in it and I said, no, I get to politicize at this thing. Forget about I don't care. To me, the case that I have, it's about men. Barut. Baruti, government leaders, community leaders, because this thing, it's about the guys it's broader than it's a person who therefore it's not. It's problem of so let's look at it, let's the emotions and say what is it that could be done. And hence that's when we said this ambiguity. Remember Ghana also, we have certain groups in the Botswana by it's culturally correct. You and I might not agree with the whole culture. According to me, 15 and badira who hitilwe so that context is very important. So we said, because there's all these ambiguities, let's start with the ambiguity at the law so that we can define, so that everybody knows. So we managed to pass that, and it is law right now. It is clearly defined. The biggest one in clause in Romeo and Juliet clause is commonly referred to as that, because we also have to be careful, because yo mongwe bala form 5 yo mongwe bala form 3 ke bankane mmogo ba tshameka mmogo but yo mongwe o tudile ka ngwaga kere yo mongwe ka tase ba tshameka mmogo is pregnant. If you are blind by the law o khona go tse ngwana yo, so now ba say ke bua ka banna ba 40 le banna ba 30 le banna ba the generation is le bata. I'm not talking about these two kids playing together at school. So there must be the law must look at ore bana ba ake bana mmogo ba le ko thuteng mmogo kana there's this intergenerational gap mo teng. So I think the law right now, I mean, it still stands to be tested. One of my challenges or our challenges was that the outside parties re thusa kgang re ithaya le gore beng ba kgang sentente mmago ngwana le masika wa ba re nya re siame re buile mo lapeng kgang e hedile. So you also have to navigate those waters as well.
Politics and Bogosi in Botswana.
Mhm.
Let's talk about this. Is it fair or just for Bogosi to be involved in politics or for politicians to use Bogosi?
Yeah, as long as we're not talking personalities, we're talking.
Now we're not talking personalities. Yeah.
Let's go concept. Conceptually, I believe that our country has done exceptionally well. From Korotswanting, we tell Harlinting, and it is those steps the country that we became and we still are. And some of those was drawing the parameters, respect the fact that something that is bohosi, that must be protected, that must be respected. And remove all the other things. And our forefathers were very clear. They said, let us because I get it how lokosi right? I'm limited and constrained in terms of what I can do and what I can say. I'm subservient to you because but how thinking compete la sitilo ke tlo compete jang ke ro mongan ke compete ko so santa go go sing ke tebe ke tshamikisa batho ra a to a re le khosi. That's why it was important for it to be removed ka ga go ema le monga o ema le motho ka wena yo e leng gore o tsene ko se politiki. So now I still believe that that must be protected to allow our politics. We are a Republican democracy. And therefore it must be allowed to separate the two so that re respect because non-partisan bo sa tsene mo dipolitiki ba re kgaoganya ha re lole ko ha re ta go khoteng ba khona gore reetsa ba sa tsa le thakore ba itse ba reditse setšhaba ba reditse batho wa taloganya and deal it with that. But ha re di kopanya ga dinki di wela, you know, go khale mamang Wow, I believe in Bohos. It's a very, very, very good institution. Even in other instances, it has done better than normal Western type of democracy. It has served as well. So let's protect it and that was really my issue. That we call it partisan politics for a reason. You are either with me, and therefore that's why you can't be both. There's no room for both. You are either there non-partisan or you are either here partisan. How you know?
From that period of 2014 to 2019,
I was the MP.
You were an MP, okay, and you spent about 1 billion.
I was a constituency MP,
and you spent about 1 billion pula. I was listening to your speech, right? At least 1 billion pula. Yes. Are you proud of how the money was spent? What are the most memorable moments while serving there?
The most memorable at the time was the debates that we held in Parliament and Cabinet when we were pushing for the road, debate Martin's Drift, and how we were saying that's an economic road, and you could literally calculate if we consume 90% or 90% of our fresh produce comes from the top on the Tuli area all the way, and those people, they would have to drive to Sirule, or others would have to drive to Mahalape, cover a good 120 km that they didn't have to cover. whereas they could come direct to market, and you calculate how much, So it was a beautiful time. So we lobbied, and then I remember we lobbied that road, because you have competing needs in government. You must argue for Mohu. So that road was one of those that I really, really enjoyed fighting for. I remember also fighting for the health infrastructure, but trade, health infrastructure across the constituency. And then we had an agenda in refurbish the old clinics into new clinics, where we would say each and every village. I had 15 villages to look after, and we wanted to have infrastructure in each and every village. Right now, as we speak, we have some clinics that were donated by the private sector, where they were not part of the National Development Plan. When I came there was a hot potato of a technical college. Managed to get government to send to start up this project, but started probably as a not polytechnic, but not as a fully fledged technical college, but started with basic minimum standards, and that went, and it carried the internal roads across the constituency. And the school that I built with Lions International. Touchwood, one of the guys that helped me died. He's he was the president of Lions Club, and we do golf tournaments, we do all kinds of crazy stuff. And that's when I learned in an expensive way, because we managed to build 4 classrooms. 4 classrooms, say ordinarily le office ha teacher about $1 million or just over $1 million. And if government was doing that project, government would probably have spent 5 or 6, And Ghana is standard 1, 2 in a little village. It's standard 1, 2, 3, 4, and then but that's a school finish, because then you have a staff room and so yeah, there was a lot of things. I've tabulated them, and one day you must. I don't know whether but I did a video where I basically articulated what has been done at what cost and what was in the pipeline that had been agreed. It was important for me to do that so that post my time, when they say, what did you do? I can tangibly, I still have the discipline of the private sector where I can tangibly demonstrate. No. Tangibly tell you, and then show you the cost and say, lobbying for our villages to be connected to the pipeline, mates, North South Carrier too. Because again, you are competing, but you have to state your case such that it gains traction, and then you are counted as one as part of that. Just to name but a few. But I had a wonderful time. I have absolutely no regrets. Absolutely no regrets. And I think people, I'll answer those that have said, there's nothing as nice as being in a rural constituency, because it's the most challenging. But the people are real. The people are real. It's real problems with the real people. People that don't ask for much, they ask for the basics. The Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They want a roof over their head. They want water. They want security. They want all those basic needs. And to make them realize, I'm not so happy. So
So during the pandemic, we saw the likes of New Zealand's Jacinda Ardern, Denmark's Frederiksen, Germany's Angela Merkel. Yep. Yes. Receiving global acclaim for their response to the pandemic, right?
Yes.
Can you talk about the importance of including women in top leadership? I mean, you sort of kind of mentioned it at the beginning, but I think
I believe that women in total, they must be in every aspect of decision making. Again, I like going basic. How le mo lapeng le go na le mme le mo lapeng le go sena mme pharologanyo e teng le ha mme a le nosi a tshela le bana ba gago a le nosi le rra le ha le a le nosi a tshela le bana ba gago a le nosi pharologanyo ya teng e teng a ke re o dora ha ke gore ke re all of you gore pharologanyo e teng yona pharologanyo ya eo through and throughout, even to the leadership level, to the highest possible leadership, because it brings a balance. The way we are wired differently from you. The way we see things, the way we feel things, different from you. So we need both for us to be able to push the agenda. So any leadership without women leadership, it's not very strong. It can't be. Any leadership rehela. Any leadership mehela. Both. That's why we were created.
That's wonderful. And so, speaking at the Global Leaders Meeting on the 27th September 2015, the then Vice President of Botswana said, "I wish to reaffirm Botswana's unwavering commitment to the achievement of gender equality and women's empowerment." But we know lately, and I about talk about Facebook and so forth, But there were some cases, though, right? Especially because of the lockdowns. Can you talk about the measures in place to protect women in Botswana?
Well, it will be difficult right now for me to talk about those measures in place because it's not my portfolio responsibility.
Yes. What do you know about?
So I can just talk as an ordinary Botswana to say what in very general terms, and probably having been there, or the numbers of gender-based violence with or without COVID are still worrisome.
Okay.
And it's something that government takes very, very seriously and I know for sure I'd be surprised on the desk of our minister. It's a burning platform. It is a burning platform for her, and she's doing everything that she can to try and either pass legislation. I don't know what she's doing first, but trust me when I say to you, it is an agenda. We want to do better than currently how to are doing. But how would the problem it's anyway? The traditionally problem
Right.
GDP, it's deeper.
It's deeper, yes. Yeah.
And you can't change it overnight. You can pass 10,000 laws. If you don't go deep into the society, deep into our culture, deep, you won't be able to deal with it. You also have to look at no, we it's challenges you have mind your counselor
right.
Our counselors and our therapists, you go for therapy. Our therapists was the infrastructure around us. And also the norms in the community. In how look GSS any adult yo hitan. How the hell am I gonna be wrong what's your problem? And in there how bidizo go schooling. How Zanakola pay Bobizo bidizo go school. Can't be how Zanakola paying Muturola Ditago Arawa Umbola sent the teacher Arona Obilita. Within this regulation. So we must look at all these things because in total, the world they live in is not the world with the norms is the world with the norms of culture. I'm all about I've got a teenage son who has watched the program. I get now 16. The program America how to piss off your mom. Hey, come on, get rest. One of flag hand duel. Hello, Tana Botswana. How America? How only I don't know, mom. It's just banter. How can I get about a programmatic? How super African mom versus Mama Koa. Come and get the remote. That creative perceptions were why don't you get your own water? Has more states. So now we must look at these kids. That's what they look at. That's what they want to become. The reality suddenly hits them. Again, So we have these things that we must look at in total, you know. And that GBV, by the way, look what across the world. It was not just in Botswana. Because people no longer how to engage. How about the people don't know how to engage? How na le bana. Ba bolela gore a di phone di tsamaya di time ba re tshware ne le reng a re tseng dikgang. They will look at you, tima TV, na le bana in a room. Or you don't know how to do it. Conversation is always when they're looking at something. But what's that? How come it's or not? Those are social skills. Those are communication skills. Those are strategies. Those are embedded in there. That are things that you didn't know they were there, but they were there. But now, you can't sit down in a room. Facebook, good night, you all. Again, who are little superficial people?
Exactly.
Good night. So they don't live in the world that we live in. So that gap of this superficial world versus the world that we are in, reality. Reality here is real. It causes now it's very clear what I want the rights and I still maintain them. How long what are the rights saying? How solo monna that's me, and I'm unapologetic about it. I'm not going to be pushed into as I already know Ghana there has to be democracy in homes and people need to be heard. I got to touch wood. I'm doing a damn good job with it.
Well, that's why your boys are all doing pretty good. You know, they've been raised well.
Society must not dictate terms or and I feel very passionate about that subject matter because sometimes you know what's happening? Homework, you know. So yeah.
So here's what you said in 2018, right? You said look at areas where others have, you were addressing women here, encouraging them. Look at areas where others have not been to, and take advantage of that. Just because you are a woman, you should not also add time by the roadside, right? Challenge yourself to go into uncharted territories. And so, Your Excellency, you don't actually believe in luck.
I don't believe,
but in intention and determination to reach a goal.
Yes.
What is your secret to success? What is your? Yeah.
That's my secret to success, and here lies the issue. And how they are violently opposed to this position. Now, in categorization of people, to an extent that you imprison them in that category. Victim. No, I don't fall into that trap. Because when you are in that trap, when you even start venturing out for opportunities, meanwhile, but because you have pigeonholed yourself into number 100, because of you imprison yourself in this category. Ke monana, manano a banana. Ke monana kana dilo tsa banana. What is about? What happened to human beings? We've lost him again.
No, I'm here.
You can see me.
I can see you.
I can see you.
Okay.
Should I carry on? Oh yeah,
Yeah, carry on, carry on. I wanted to see you. It looks good, on a single screen, So,
okay.
but
So,
carry on though.
so ke monana. Ha o godisa ngwana mo lapeng a re ke monana, go ra gore ha a tswela ko nta adventure a go batla di-opportunity, wa go batla ko go bo banana. We gonna do opportunity anywhere. When you want to apply for a loan in business, they're not going to look at Hora Monana. They're going to look at whether the business makes sense or not. And they'll find you accordingly.
Correct.
So you find what how low Monana, you are just looking at these limited things that banana where competition is very tough, where the whole wide world is out there. And so I was saying to Bom Mehorena, I see myself as a human being first, who happens to be a woman. I want Bomanake to say I'm a human being first, who happen to be mo category ya banana. I don't go to Mutwaskantara Guahamatan Monan. Hey, Omonan Omut. Oman. So Umutu, you happen to be in the and it's a passing phase. We must understand that. And I find that there is a fallacy how Lumutu one me embedded within the you are lesser. No, I don't think so. No, I'm not. I'm equal. I'm an equal being. I was created equal in the eyes of God. I have competence abilities. There are certain abilities that I have that are inherent in me. Say no, did nicer than Taborre. Hela jaka Taborre tse dingwe le tsone di nicer than Tabomme.
Correct.
But I must venture out as a total human being with a believe that, because if you believe that in your head space, hello dumela, yes, how doubt that? No. Focus. And so born how born before you are a woman. We want to be this victim. No, we are not. We are human beings who happen to be women. And I don't and I believe actually we have big advantages. Our ability to be able to navigate with patience, our ability to be able to navigate with a caring mind. Those things are serious advantages. Our ability to be able to take it a notch, to allow you to feel so good about yourself, and then you give me everything that I want, and then to go. You don't have that, do you?
No, not really. No. We admire that. So
next.
how about Botswana in Australia? I want to talk the diaspora.
Well, I'm fortunate enough to be in an environment where Botswana and the diaspora, by our numbers, get around 400 and something.
Wow.
And probably the majority ya bone ile ba ileng gore ba bereka gona le Batswana ba berekang season Batswana ba ileng gore ba khona go nominate at national award level. For instance, in estate management, I was proud to go to a function the other day in New South Wales when Motswana was nominated in the estate space for the work that he had done. There's a lot of them in the medical field. Across board, dentistry, normal physicians, specialist services, and others. There's engineering, particularly mining, and all that. And then obviously we have the student body. There's about 50 or so of them. The majority sponsored by the Botswana government, and then a good 8 or 9 thereabout sponsored by the Australian government through the bilateral agreement that we have with them, and some of the engagements with government here. Scholarship is a thing, and they've agreed. The scholarship should be defined by us. The scholarship is a 10. Like the sufferer at which space the most. In what specifically? Looking at the skills deficit that we have. E be ke ta go go bone ka gore madi ke madi. Nnyaa, ke ba bata re batla a degree in cyberspace or cyber engineering, bata mo whatever it is. It's in alignment with where we want to go. We want to go technology, we want to go education, we want to move away from resource or even within the resource sectors. We want to be using technology to be able to get ahead. So Badumel on the basis on the basis of our discussions. Unfortunately, due to COVID, Ghana have not already students together, so that's currently also on hold and COVID. You know, we are watching this space or next day home it will resume. Baba Kwano, Baba Nangila, or some of them when go back home and they realize what I wanted to do and stay. Yeah. I'm engaging them through associations. Right now we have 5 associations out of 6 states. And those associations, our engagement is very simple. What is it that's keeping you here? And you necessarily have to go. What is it that you can do still when you are here? Because telemedicine you can do. I mean, this COVID, bad as it was, it's also good because we realize how much can be done through the use of technology. You set up a surgery, you put a nurse in there, you run the assessment, you're watching them, and then you say, okay, let's do ABC. You know,
Actually, that was my next question.
yeah, there's a lot that can be done. So these are discussions still at entry level, but I've talked to all the associations. It's like young winners at sale. I've also asked for them to give us the data so that we can divide it into sectors and see, and then have a tripartite arrangement where we can talk with the respective ministries. Our engineers, Baba Kwano, largely in mining, talk to the mining ministry. There's a huge platform, Africa Down Under in that I've participated in. We have always participated in government. I addressed that forum as Minister of Trade probably 2-3 times. And a lot of investment that comes out of that directly to the marketplace. COVID because you can't engage, you know.
Yes.
I don't feel like I'm a crybaby because it's not like the engagement is over. It is. As of last week, Negiwele, the president of Victoria, because I said to them, give me the submission on the basis of what we had discussed. Submission so that we can, if we have to do it via Zoom, we will do it via Zoom. Recently, I was talking to La Trobe University. We did it via Zoom. I'm trying to push to see if we can have a tripartite meeting in Botswana. Get the example here.
Yeah, that's
Zoom,
good. That's good.
And Zoom, it's Zoom. You know,
Yeah.
you want people to see, especially when people do not necessarily. We know about the rest of the world than they know about us. So you want them to come and see you are heaven. And then it can give them the confidence. So yeah.
That's great. Should we expect you to run for president someday?
Unfortunately, I can go Botswana mola wa teng ga o yene mfethu. Kana ga o kula o tomanga I'm running for president why? Ka ho yo. Ora na ka. Currently, I'm still, you know, having had a good got a busy time in politics. Yeah, man, I needed a break. And my break was in terms of when I want to do something, I give it my all. Ke na le tumelo ya gore ga se lona la go mpotsa modimo to go mpotsa gore Dorcus Makgato kana na ke go hile talenta ya go bua ke ne ke go hile talenta ya go akanya ke ne ke go hile talenta ya go bonela ko pele again that would be God. What did you do with that talent? We must account for the talents that we've been given. Again,
right.
And therefore that is why when I'm given an assignment everything to the best of my ability such that so when I came out of politics, I was physically, emotionally drained because I gave it my all. That's why I have no regrets. I can't say I said everything that I needed to say. I did everything that I needed to do. You know, I used every part of my brain that didn't to use. So that's why I'm a happy person. That's why I'm happy. I'm like, oh wow, I tried, and these are the results that I got, and I'm happy with those results because they can take everything away from you, but they can never ever take you that which you have learned. This was said by a poet, but I've always liked this story. They can take everything away from you except that which you have learned. So the lessons that are learned in politics, in grassroots politics, in women politics, in executive politics, in continental politics, in global politics, hey, you can take them away from me. They're in my headspace. You can never take that away from me. And I've learned. And when I came out and this opportunity came to come and serve, I said, guess what? I have been doing 3 jobs at a go. I was minister. And I was how minister wa cabinet thing o dira molao. Go tswa wa mo parliament, wa ko parlamenteng, wa go dira molao kana wa go defenda molao o batang go dira. Go tswa wa go constituency, wa go bereka constituency. Go tswa ha bo mme ka ha le bone ba go bata. Go tswa ha ka ha bana ba gago le bone they need you. I mean, you don't have time for yourself. I'll give you a simple example. I'll get home. I'll be so tired that I always like having beautiful nails, as you can see. When I left politics and she came to do my nails, she was saying, "I've never done your nails in a long time. When you were awake, I'll just get home on my couch, pass out, leave my nails like that. She will come in." Do my nails. I had to mates because I had to find places where I could sleep. I'd sleep in my car to go to a meeting. My driver will then having driven 8 hours to that meeting. So you don't have time for you. So now that I'm here, I'm doing one job. One job. I'm Bazar. One job. So that one job, all those energies that I had, how would I deal? They're all there. That's why I'm studying. I finished my part 1 of my MBA. I'm now starting my thesis. No, my own time. We see what the TV. Like mo classing, ke tsana class go UK. Oh yeah, with University of Wales and capacity.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Next day when you talk to me, I'll be done with this thing because I'm
you're encouraging me.
You must do it. It's so much fun. And I'm doing that because otherwise I'll go mad. I'm running my farming business from here because when Kichaisa Botswana is waking up. So Kizana go one again schedule runs at and they're doing very, very well. And then I have time for my kids. How about the 2 boys that are playing rugby with for Paul? And I talk to you. I talk to them all the time. So I think this time it has given me to, talk to my mom. So I have time for family. I have time to reconnect with who I am as a person. So
trying to introspect at the same time.
COVID has been good in the sense that you are stuck together in a confined space. You must die together or swim together. So I'm happy. I'm in a very, very happy space. So
yeah, I can tell that you're happy.
Yeah, so this happy space. So I'm just me, I'm just
yeah. So
I want to be structured. So when you are in that space, anything is possible for me in the future, really. Right now, right now, ambassador, my contract expires as at February 2022. So I'm here, I'm happy, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do. I could be happy. I'm looking forward to next year. I'm hoping. And catch up, beyond my assignment here. To me, I've never really confined myself to any space. Anything is possible. Yeah.
And who's your role model?
My mom.
Your mom, okay.
My mom. My mom was young when she had me. She had to learn how to be a mother through me, and she she's a hustler for life. Maloba, she goes to the farm to go check or is everything okay. And had ana go itela gore wa harvestiwa. As much as I have 50 pula kio, ke kopa gore ntirele vegetables. I mean, my mom goes to your farm bara bana direla munele box di tamati box di pepper. No. Ke tetsa ngwana ke. When I told her ke mara ke a go sebetsa ga to ke a Australia o twa. A bua o santse go sa bue go itella ba sa ena o se ka bua 2 weeks wa ntatela ntara ke simolotse go save madi a ticket. She's not saying no. She's independent. Do you understand? Yeah, of course. Economy business. But my mother has always believed that whatever she wants, she can do. My mother utaba a go rekisa di plants, the elephant ear, the rose, the tunya. She's always been hustling. Gona no malo bankile ka mara ha go tsene COVID ga to rekisa madila. Kana madila ga go ra re batho ba tsene mo jarateng. Mpolela profit e o dira mo madileng. Ke go inela because I don't want you to be exposed to COVID. And then she will say, madila. Then somebody will call me that. And it's not that she hasn't got money to leave. Look, I bought her a Mercedes Benz for her 70th birthday. I want to wear. But she still wants to believe or she must do things for herself.
Do something, exactly.
It's not that I can't give her. So that's why she's my role model. And she raised all of us well. And I think she did a good job. And she was the youngest. If you know, they call it UCCSA, because London Missionary Society. I think that's where Lonte comes from. And because she was young, I was able to talk to her. So she's like my confidant. She's my friend, because our age gap. That's why I tease mother. Yeah. So yeah, my role model is my mom.
That's wonderful. I'm gonna let you go, but
That's wonderful.
Your message of hope. Your last word.
Message of hope. My message of hope to Botswana. Ke gore ke bata re itebelela. Let us look for solutions within ourselves first and foremost, before we can look for solutions elsewhere. When you look for solutions within yourself, first and foremost, it empowers you as an individual to be able now to have ability to look for solutions elsewhere. Generally, we never have time. Who really are you? What really are you? Where are you from? Where are you headed? How are you going to get there? And get away from who's taking me there. Can they and externalize it? I want it to start with you. Everything must start with you. And then take that which comes from outside as a benefit. But let's start with ourselves. And we'll go further than when we are sitting waiting for somebody to do it for us. Because if you're waiting for somebody to do it for you, or you're waiting for government to do it for you, or you're waiting for an individual to do it for you, you're only as good as the plan that that person has for you. And hello, that plan is not what you want, then you are doomed. So start within self. Start within understanding who you are, what you stand for. They will probably be very angry with me. I'm worried about our country. When I look at other countries during this pandemic, or what were people worried about? People were worried about jobs. They were talking about jobs. They were talking about schools, and all that. Well, now we are worried about I think this conversation we must have. We must drink it with respect. It can't be everything about us. It can't be everything. When we celebrate being out of a lockdown, We celebrate it by exposing us to the very thing that we are running away from. And ke le moeteledipele like any other moeteledipele, ke le mogolo, ke le mme. If I didn't say it, it's something that I will not be doing justice to others. They will criticize me and say she can afford to say that and all that. All I'm saying is that freedom, it must be a freedom for us to go and hustle for something that betters our lives. It's okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong in sitting down and having your drink, in dancing. But more working on a freedom. It's not. It can't be. It's getting you into deeper trouble. And are you coming or going? How are you going to influence your future? So look within you, start with you, and then go to others. And it's our freedom to do so. We must do it because there is no life without accountability. There is no life without responsibility. How everything comes with a comeback. So we must know our actions will determine how far we go and what we become. That's my few pennies worth. If you agree with what I'm saying, that's okay. Equally, if you disagree with what I'm saying, that's also okay. But that's me. That's what I believe in. I want more out of our countrymen. I want more out of our youth. They must demand in the right places that can change their future. I'm not going to listen to I won't say the name, to a company that is profiting out of me being out there, being totally gone, and then it says they're taking away your freedom. They're making money, and when you are getting poorer and poorer, wake up, smell the coffee. That's basically what I'm saying.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well,